Hi again, this is James Polito, and I wanted to make a short video walking you through a Pearson R in SPSS. Now, I know some of you may still not have SPSS. If you don't and you're still trying to get it through the university, look at this video and then as though you had put in these data, interpret the results as if you had done it. Looking at the final table, write a little narrative, let me know that you don't have SPSS yet, and I'll give you full credit so you can relax and bring down your anxiety a little bit. But for those of you who are able to have SPSS and work it through, great. So what I'm going to do is a Pearson R. Some of you asked me what's the difference between the Pearson R and the Spearman's Rho. The Pearson R requires continuous data for both variable, and the other one you can put in ordinal data as well. But let's do the Pearson R. So if you look at the screen, I put in two variables, two sets of scores. I put in English and math, and I want to see if there's a correlation. And remember that we don't necessarily see causation, but let's see if there's a correlation between math and English. So what we do is in the variable view we put in math and English, and then in the data view I went ahead and put in mock data for 20 subjects. So these are the scores for English and these are the scores for math. Now as I was putting in these scores, I was consciously making a good positive correlation between the two of them. So if you see the scores, they're really close to each other. 100, 100, 98, 99, 86, 87. I did that on purpose so that I would see a positive correlation, so that I would see what that looks like. And what I suggested in this assignment for fun, it's not a requirement, but for fun, run it twice. Run it one with much lower scores on one than the other, so you can see what maybe a negative correlation looks like, and then one that has no correlation. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so we go up to Analyze, you go to Correlate, Bivariate, because you're looking at two variables, and I went ahead and put them here, but when you're doing it, you'll put in the two titles that you see up here that you created will be on the left side, so you move them over to the right side, okay? And you're doing a Pearson, so hit OK, and that's it. Those are your results, okay? So what you're looking at here is anything that's a 1 is a perfect correlation. I mean, mirror image, exactly the same thing. The reason you have a 1 here is because the SPSS compares the math scores to the math scores. It is just a way of checking to make sure the math was done correctly, because you would expect the math scores and the math scores, which are exactly the same, to have a perfect 1 correlation, okay? And then down here does the other one. It compares the English to the English, and you would expect it to be a 1. Okay, if you don't see a 1, something's wrong. So it has to be a 1 because they're the exact same test scores. So now look at this one over here. It's math and English. Look at this box right here. This is the score you're looking at, 0.988. The closer it is to 1, the more it is a positive correlation. It could be a negative 0.98. A negative 1 is still a good correlation, but negative, meaning that as one goes up, the other one goes down. So that's still good. A negative correlation isn't bad. It just means as one goes up, one goes down. And that would be interesting sometimes. Not necessarily causation. You have to look at all the variables around your subjects to determine any sort of causation. This test in and of itself doesn't do that, even if you have a strong positive correlation. Okay, so yeah, and we'll leave it at that. And so go ahead and do this on your own with mock data. If you don't have SPSS, go ahead and use this tape as though you had this video as though you had done this, and that way you don't get far behind, and you get your assignment in and you get full credit. Okay, enjoy.